Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our Chief Executive Officer, I am your Chief Operating Officer, Mark Edrada, and by the trust vested in me by the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club, now call this meeting to order. Tonight, our theme is conglomerates. So we will learn how business tycoons work and act in a board meeting, like this kind of setup. And before we begin our meeting proper, let me call here on our virtual stage to lead us on prayer and Toastmasters promise, our, our past Division G Director, Rose Padilla.
Let us all put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we can do all things through you who gives us strength. Indeed, you have been generous to us. You have given us all that we need, and you have blessed us enough. All the gifts that we have come from your goodness. We are blessed with talents of listening, thinking, and speaking. Tonight we will use them to celebrate and to glorify you. Thank you for all of these, especially for our friends here in Toastmasters. I pray for all of us here present, keep us safe, keep us healthy and in your arms. In your name we pray. Amen. And now,
Amen.
let us raise our hands for the Toastmasters promise. You can lip sync with me. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to adhere to the guidelines, to prepare and fulfill all meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain a positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. And with that, I return the control back to our to Mark.
Thank you for that prayer and Toastmasters promise, our corporate secretary, Rose Padilla. Now, conglomerates. Who wants to lead a large conglomerate here in our country, in Asia Pacific, or even in the world? So let's feel the vibration of being in a board meeting here in Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. And to lead our meeting for tonight, may I call on this lady, the lady that doesn't need any introduction, any further introduction. She's a woman of strength, a mother, a wife, a company president, now the chairman of our board here in our tonight's meeting. All right, so without further ado, let me call here on stage our chairman of the board, Toastmaster Juliet.
Thank you, Director Mark. Good evening, Board of Directors.
Good evening.
And officers comprising of the committee chairman and chairwomen, legal advisor, business consultants, corporate advisors, and our independent directors. Welcome to our MTMC Conglomerate Semi-Annual Meeting. But first of all, I would like to ask our corporate secretary, do we have a quorum, Madam Secretary?
Madam Chair, upon checking, yes, we have a quorum. We may proceed.
Thank you for that. So Toastmasters conglomerate, because we have a lot of new guests, future shareholders and stakeholders, I would like to give to you a brief introduction of the Toastmasters International Conglomerate. It was founded by Mr. Ralph Smedley on October 22, 1924 in Santa Ana, California. And Toastmaster is now on its 101st year this coming October 22nd. And Toastmasters Philippines, the conglomerate in the Philippines, is the first country in the whole Asia to have a Toastmasters club, which is the Tamaraw Toastmasters, chartered on 1st of November 1952 by Ambassador Mauro Baradi and Attorney Teodoro Calao Jr. Here at Toastmasters, we will learn how to prepare ourselves in interview preparation, online meeting management, leadership development, project management, and conflict resolution. As for MTMC Conglomerate, we are under the umbrella of Toastmasters International, and we were chartered 1st of August 1991, and we are on our 34th year this coming August, and under the District 75 area G3 for now. Now, before we proceed with our business for tonight, we will be practicing our voting rights as directors and officers of this organization. And this will be voting for the best speaker of the night. And we will do this through secret voting. Now, how this works. Everyone is a participant. Everyone who will speak, who will render speeches, no matter it is for table topics, it's for prepared speeches, or for just expressing yourself, you are considered as a participant. And whoever gets the majority of the vote from the board of directors will win, and there will be prize. The first one will get 500 credit for the team building. The second one will get 400 pesos credit for the team building. And the third one will get 300 credit for the team building. But for those who will not join the team building, we will send to you via GCash. So I encourage everyone to participate, express yourself tonight because of the in-store prizes. Now, our order of business for tonight has 3 parts. And this will be the education portion, the first order of business, which comprise of the table topic session. But before that, yes, the second portion will be the prepared speech business. We have 4 speakers for tonight. And the third business will be the evaluation portion. But before that, let's call first our language evaluator for tonight to give the technical term, which is supposed to be the chairman of the Risk and Audit Committee, but he's not available. So let's call on our CEO for tonight, Chief Executive Officer, TM Mark Edrada.
Hello once again, fellow Toastmasters and friends. Our technical term of the night is golden parachute. For the benefit of our guests, we usually use the word of the night. And if the team is more on a technical side, then we use the tech term or technological term or the technical term of the night. So our tech term of the night is golden parachute. Golden parachute means a large financial compensation or substantial benefits guaranteed to company executives upon termination following a merger or takeover. For example, in a sentence, the employment contract of a CEO of company ABC includes a golden parachute clause that guarantees him $100 million in severance pay, stock options, and retirement package if he is terminated. So for this one, may I ask somebody to use the technical term golden parachute in a sentence? I see Toastmaster Juliet laughing. Can you use that? Yes.
Okay.
Or you had
Okay.
on golden parachute.
I think that is one thing. The golden parachute is the one thing that I forgot to include with my employment agreement with my current employer. So now that you have reminded me and I saw that tonight, I will probably think it over and give them something to think about. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that, Chairman Juliet. I now turn the control
Back to
of the
me.
proceeding to you, Toastmaster Juliet.
Thank you. So that's what I'm saying, fellow board of directors and officers. Everyone is entitled. Express yourselves, speak, table topics or anything. If we have a break, just you have to do just speak. And you are considered as participant. And later on, we will ask everyone to vote secretly and send the person you are voting for to Mark Edrada, and he will do the tallying. But he himself is also included. So I don't know, don't cheat.
Yes, I
Don't
will.
cheat Director Mark, but everyone has a chance to win the prize. Whoever gets the majority of the votes will win. So it's the criteria, no? The way we speak, the way we project ourselves, everything that you've seen good in that person, you count it in and you vote for him or her. Okay? Now, the first order of business, our table topics, and will also be led by our Chief Executive Officer, our Executive Director. But before that, do you know what is the meaning of an Executive Director? Anyone? I can't see anyone raising their hands. Okay, that's your
Madam Chair,
homework. Who's
isn't
that?
he the boss? Madam Chair,
Well, kind of, yes. But we go
one
to
of
the
the
next,
bosses.
yes, one of the bosses. But do your research later on. Whoever gives the proper definition will also win 100 pesos and will send it via GCash. Now, I'll give the floor to our table topics master, Director Mark Edrada. Take it away.
Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters. It's me again. Okay. Welcome to our table topics session. For the benefit of our guests, the table topics session is a portion in a Toastmasters meeting that teaches us to answer creatively, and it is in an impromptu manner, meaning we don't have any preparation at all when we are answering this one. For example, in a job interview, when we are asked a question by the hiring manager, they will answer the questions outrightly. So this is that portion in which we are trained to speak in an impromptu manner or without any preparation. So like what I have mentioned earlier, it is a portion in a Toastmasters meeting that teaches us to answer creatively. So we have a number of guests here. I can see their names in my screen. And our guests may observe how this session goes. So I will not call you in this meeting, in this particular session. Just observe how it goes. And in table topics, we can use different speech patterns, which I will no longer elaborate for tonight's meeting because we often discuss it during our regular meetings, our mentoring sessions, and whenever we visit other clubs. Fellow Toastmasters, we are familiar with the SMG or story message game pattern, the PPF or the past, present, future, AIDA or attention, interest, desire, and action, and PREP, position, reason, example, position. So when we are being interviewed for a job position, we articulate what we have done for our current job. And let me introduce to you the speech pattern that we haven't tackled yet in any of our Toastmasters meeting. And this is the STAR pattern. STAR. STAR. STAR stands for situation, tasks, action, and result. When the hiring manager asks you a question about employment, give him or her the situation you highlight in the story. So that's the situation, followed by a task that was assigned to you by your manager or even yourself. Then tell the action or the thing you have done for your task and the result or outcome of your action. So that's the STAR pattern. And of course, when we are dealing with the table topics, we're talking to people. So we have to answer, what is it for the audience? Okay. And I said earlier that the table topic session trains every one of us to answer a question creatively. For tonight's meeting, all of you will think because table topics is a mental exercise. Fellow Toastmasters, you will not only answer a question creatively, you will also exercise how to ask the right questions. So what will be our mechanics? I will call somebody to ask a question. Then from that question, I will select a Toastmaster to answer that particular question. So the question must be related to our theme, conglomerates, or we can divert it into business, work, golden parachute, etc. To the questionnaire, you are given 30 seconds to ask a question. To the table topic speaker, you are given 1 to 2.5 minutes to answer. A green signal will be shown when you reach the 1-minute mark, yellow when you reach the 1.5-minute mark, and red when you reach the 2-minute mark. I think Toastmaster Armel is our time evaluator for today. Okay, you may see the signal lights or signal backgrounds on Toastmaster Armel's video. Okay, let's start the question and answer portion here in table topics session. Oh, there are somebody raising their hands. Okay.
As timer.
Timer. And then our gel evaluator is also raising his hand. All right. So first questionnaire, who will ask a question? So the question must revolve around our theme conglomerates. Okay. May I hear the question from distinguished Toastmaster Christine? What do you want to ask our fellow Toastmasters that revolves around the theme conglomerates? Tita Christine.
Okay. Okay. This should be like a situation, right?
Yes.
Okay. In a business setting and you are in a board meeting discussing about the new marketing program of a company, how would you deal with two counteractive proposal of two important directors or persons, important executives in your company, if they are both profitable and income generating for the company.
Okay, let me paraphrase the question, distinguished Toastmaster Christine. So the question is that
Okay.
if there are, how are you going to lead counter, sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. You are in a business meeting and discussing about the new the proposed marketing program for the future of the company. But there are two factions actually in that particular meeting, and they are proposing two important marketing program that is a bit counterproductive for each other's individual program. So how will you deal with the situation as the CEO?
Okay, how are you going to deal with the situation as a CEO if you are dealing with those kind of counterproductive programs? Okay, let me hear somebody to answer that question from distinguished Toastmaster Dan.
You're very lucky, Mark. Good evening to everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
If you are the chairman of the board of a company, you are the leader of the company, and therefore you should exercise leadership. And as a leader, in a heated discussion like that, you have to listen to each one. In short, do not preempt anybody. Keep on listening, keep on taking notes, and analyze it. And at the end, you should be the last one who will speak out to make that decision. The whole idea here is to maintain the teamwork, to maintain the good relationship between two groups, and at the same time, to get and listen to what is important to the objectives of the company. This is the most prudent way that a leader should act. The act of listening and the act of speaking last as a leader. Good evening to everyone.
Thank you for that, distinguished Toastmaster Dan. So, in reality, we need to have the social skills, social quotient, interpersonal relationship, communication, leadership, in order for us to attain the goal of our company. So that's a non-negotiable skill that every one of us has to master. All right, thank you for that once again, distinguished Toastmasters Christine and Dan, for the question and answer. Now, let's have somebody ask another question about conglomerates, business, golden parachute, etc. Can we hear it from Toastmaster Rose?
Good evening, everyone. It gave me an impression when our chairman of the board remembered that she doesn't have a golden parachute. So I would like to ask, how would you negotiate to update your contract to have a golden parachute? This is for everyone, right? Or
Yeah.
anyone who volunteers. Yeah.
How are you going to negotiate so that you can have a golden parachute in your contract?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. For that, let me hear from Toastmaster Chris Sevillejo.
Thank you, TM Rose. I think this is a timely question for me, given I'm in the industry of the non-government organization. Recently, we just heard about the funding issues with USAID around the world. and a lot of non-government organization has been closing down. And our organization is not exempted by this issue. With that, it has given us a lot of anxiety, fears, and uncertainty on what's going to happen with our projects, with our implementations around the globe, with the children's, the communities, and the families that we're serving. Transforming the lives of those children, families, and communities is one of our important purpose and goals within our organization. But of course, we also need to think about our situation, our families, our life, our work, on what's going to happen if one day we receive the news that we will no longer have a work to get back to. And with that, our organization is actively communicating with us and assuring us that we don't have to worry about everything. They're trying to do their best to ensure that in case we get to the point that somebody needs to be cut down or to lessen the number of people within the organization, they already planned a golden parachute for everyone in case this happens. With that, although with fear and with anxiety, I am trustful with our executive leaders and our directors that they will handle the situation with professionalism, integrity, and love as a Christian organization. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Mark.
Thank you for that, Toastmaster Chris. Yes, indeed, the uh, we need the support of any organization in order to come up with the accomplishment of our goals, whether it is personal or professional goals. All right, thank you for that, Toastmaster Chris. Now let's hear from our next questionnaire. The one who, okay, so any question regarding conglomerates, business, or golden parachute? May I hear it? May I hear your question, Toastmaster Lit?
Hello, good evening, everyone. We're talking about the golden parachute, and we have just so come to the conclusion that it's really very healthy, it's very good. And as far as something that would be able to give security to the top of officials by providing for them large cash payments just in case something happens in the future. So I think my only question is this: how do you think can we come up with a large amount of money that we will be so needing in the future just in case emergencies like this happen, where golden parachutes must be adopted or applied?
Okay, so let me reiterate the question, Toastmaster Lit. What are we going to do to come up with a large sum of money for?
That's right.
All right. Okay, let's hear it from Toastmaster John.
The question is, there would come a time when the golden parachute must be applied or executed, and that is when something happens like a merger or what have you, that would require for the certain top officials to be provided for. So we're thinking of a large amount of money that we would be needing for sure in the future when something unavoidable happens. And of course, we should prepare for that. So what do you think is one of the best ways to just gather or prepare for this? Because we would be needing a large amount of cash payments for the people that we will be providing this money for. So I would like to ask you, Toastmaster John, to just kindly give us an idea or an example on how or what we should be doing in order to prepare for this when a large amount of money would be needed soon. Thank you.
All right. So if I were to determine the size of a golden parachute for an executive, for example, I considered several key factors. So first, the salary and bonuses. So maybe the company could cut on some of those, and also perhaps um, also decrease the amount of percentage for the shareholders, because that would probably uh, increase the the money pot for the golden parachute, and also cut some unnecessary and unimportant expenses for the company. Uh, and yeah, and there's also a factor for departure for those employees that were uh, that that is near uh, their retirement age. Ultimately, I believe that the golden parachute should be fair for all the employees and for all the members of the business. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Master John.
Thank you, Toastmaster John. So, actually, golden parachute is controversial in some aspects. So, you mentioned a fairness, and then is golden parachute fair for the employees or for the C-level executives, or is it really fair? We will find out as we progress with this Toastmasters educational meeting. Now, it seems that many of you want to volunteer for the question and answer portion. So we have the last set of question and answer for this session, for today's session.
Last.
So
Yay.
let's have the question from our general evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Jen. Your question that revolves around conglomerate or golden parachute or business.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Good evening once again, everyone. As a business person, I'm actually curious to find out what is a business decision that you regretted the most and why.
Okay,
So what is a business decision that you regretted the most and why?
what is the business decision that you have regretted the most and why? Let's hear it. Let's hear it from one of our businessmen here in Meycauayan Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Rai. What is the business decision that you have regretted and why?
Integrity. It is one of the key values that I am really looking for a partner. But it so happened that it is one of my greatest regret with regards to dealing with people. Based on my experience, I met people who are very talented, who are well-versed in business, and they are very capable in handling the business, but they do have a problem when it comes to their integrity. Integrity simply means doing the right things even nobody or no one is looking. It is one thing that I neglected when I deal with people in doing business, and I learned a lot from it, because you really need to associate yourself with people who are ready to give their all, give their talent, but at the end of it, they should and are ready to stand up for what is right and what is legal and what is necessary, not just for the business, but for the benefit of the customers, the community, and of course, the stakeholders within the company. My personal take on this, all the talents, all the profits, and all the things that the company will gain will not last if those people you are surrounding that business is lacking of integrity. And back to you, Toastmaster Mark.
Thank you for that, Toastmaster Rai. Yes, integrity is of utmost importance. Is that the reason why integrity is the first core value that we know in Toastmasters? So integrity means a lot to everyone, to every organization, to every company. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you for your interest in giving your questions and answers in this session for our tonight's table topic session. For every one of us, let's strive to have this integrity in whatever situation that we have, whether in personal lives, professional lives, or even our own organizations. Because integrity, respect, service, and excellence, the core values of Toastmasters International, they echo the core value that we have to instill in ourselves so that we can achieve the goal that we have for ourselves, for our community, for our family, and for our organization. That ends our table topic session. I now turn the control back to our chairman of the board, Toastmaster Juliet.
Thank you, Executive Director Mark, for our table topic session for tonight. And I would like to we have more than 10 speakers already that you are going to vote later on. We have Executive Mark, our legal advisor, Christine Temblique. We have our corporate advisor, Dan Napalinga. We have our CORSEC, TM Rose. We have our another corporate advisor, Lit Mabayad. And we have our independent director, Chris Sevillejo. And we have our business consultant, DTM Jedfrey. And we have our director. I can't see what's your position here, but we have Director John Centeno. And of course, we have our independent director, Rai De Jesus. So those are the one who have already rendered their speeches. You can vote for them. And we have more to come because we are going now to the second business portion of our meeting for tonight, which is the prepared speech portion. And our first speaker, one of our independent director, her speech title is First Cry, under the path of persuasive influence, project level 1.4.2, evaluation and feedback. The purpose is to present a speech on any topic and apply the feedback received in the previous speech. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. And the previous evaluation of Liz from her evaluator is this. As I'm expecting from what I saw from your previous speeches, especially last demo in San Jose del Monte, it was impressive and executed the speech very well. You captured the attention of the audience and deliver your messages from the heart and inspire us from your life experiences. You use voice dynamics, hand gestures, and connect with the listener. There are few points that you just need to improve, like give pauses and avoid talking fast. Other than that, I cannot say anything anymore. So that is the previous evaluation. So our evaluator for tonight is Nikki Crisostomo. Again, first cry, Liz Bautista, our first prepared speaker.
Standing on the fragile edge between life and death, with unwavering strength in every heartbeat and every breath of birth, they remind us that life begins not just with the first cry, but with the hands that care. 1, 2, 3, push! I cannot do it anymore. My love, you said you're not going to hurt me. Ouch, I don't like this anymore. Mommy. This is one of the many scenarios that I encountered in more than 2 decades on this profession, both private, public, and domiciliary setup. I witnessed and handled countless of mother and child pregnancy and delivery, both normal and abnormal pregnancy and childbirth. It is a challenge mentally, emotionally, and physically, sometimes financially too. Is it fulfilling? Absolutely. Is it honorable? Certainly. Unfortunately, in our society, this profession is belittled, discriminated, and taken for granted. Most that I heard was, or is, oh, she's just a midwife, with accompanying smirk and head to foot look. But people do not know that before any other profession could even exist, human had to be born first. And who was there helping to bring life into the world? Midwives. During the ancient Egypt, to the time of Exodus, when Pharaoh issued a brutal commandment to kill all Hebrew male baby at birth. But 2 midwives, Shipra and Puah, stood in quiet defiance, chose to obey God and their calling rather than man. Can you imagine the scene? I myself had been in that situation. When a pregnant mother tried to bribe me to abort her 24 weeks of pregnancy on her 7th baby, she offered to pay me a good amount of money. Sounds tempting, isn't it? And it's a test of faithfulness and loyalty to my profession and calling. I asked her, how do you know me? Through a neighbor. What is the reason why you wanted to get rid of your own baby? I had 6 youngest. I had 6, and the youngest is already 17, and I don't want to start all over again at my age 48. I want to enjoy my life. So what is the chance that I will do it for you? I'm just taking chance. Please. I told her, why don't you use that money to raise your baby? I think I am not the right person for you that you are looking for, because there's no amount to pay my principles and my love for my profession. My calling is to save and not to kill innocent lives. My advice for you is to continue the pregnancy. After birth, I suggest for ligation or vasectomy for your husband. I can give you free counseling anytime. Then she left. You know, as a midwife, courage is important. One should possess strategic leadership, sharp wit, calmness, and compassion. The Bible says that because of the midwife's faithfulness, God dealt well with the midwives. Another event that I cannot forget was when I attended a particularly difficult birth The labor was long, the mother was exhausted, and the room was thick with tension and signs of complications. I assured her that everything will be okay. That moment requires more than just skill. It demands presence of mind. The couple were poor, and the husband begged me to deliver the baby normally and make sure his wife and child were safe. Unfortunately, the newborn has no anal opening and with birth defect where a baby's head and brain is smaller than expected. I called an ambulance to bring the baby to the hospital and passed away after a few hours. I didn't get any sense after more than 16 hours of monitoring. Rather, I helped them to buy medications and birth registration. This profession is also about charity. Also, way back when I was working in a tertiary government hospital, and the mother requests if her husband can witness her giving birth. So we let the husband in. A 6-footer, big man, walking in. I told the husband to stood behind me and I would let him cut the umbilical cord of his firstborn. While waiting at the crowning of his baby's head, oozing with blood coming out, I told the father, "Look at your baby's head. It's coming out." While delivering the baby's head and pulling it out, I told the father, "Be ready. You're going to cut the umbilical cord in a while." When suddenly, from the back, we heard a loud noise. Bug! I looked beside me and saw the father, white-faced. There he was, a 6-footer big man, unconscious, lying on the floor, and didn't have the chance to hear his baby's first cry. Hilarious. But we tried not to laugh. But beneath the humor is profound truth. Midwives don't just deliver babies. We deliver strength, courage, and hope. It's about calming a fearful heart with a steady voice. It's about knowing when to push forward and when to step back. And it's about possessing the rare ability to hold both the weight of life and the shadow of death in the same moment. As it was with Shipra and Pua, midwifery remains a sacred calling. It is not merely a job. It is a ministry of presence, a work of healing, and an act of leadership. When Pharaoh's decree threatened the future of a nation, God didn't send warriors, kings, or prophets. God sent midwives. Because sometimes the greatest power is not in the sword or scepter. It's in the steady hands and courageous hearts of those who bring life into the world. Midwives are the quiet heroes of humanity. We stand at the threshold of life and death, delivering the most beautiful sound, the first cry of human life. And that is why midwifery is not just the oldest profession, it is the most honorable one. Thank you.
Thank you, TM Liz, for the first cry speech. At first, it made me feel sad, but you were able to regain it at the end of your speech to regain the composure. Now, for our second prepared speaker, we have Cris Sevillejo. The title of her speech is The Ripple Effect, under the path of leadership development, level 2.3, Introduction to TM Mentoring. The purpose of the speech is to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. Time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. She will be evaluated by our corporate secretary for tonight, TM Rose Pagia. Once again, the ripple effect, Chris Sevillejo.
In June 2019, I began a new chapter in my career by joining a non-government organization as my second role as an operations assistant. Although I had little knowledge of the organization and the position, I trusted it was where I needed to be. The transition was challenging, especially moving from corporate international environment to a Christian organization with a different ethos where work and purpose were deeply intertwined. Even in my first job, I found myself naturally stepping into a pioneer role within my team and every project I was part of. Whether it was setting up or organizing neglected processes, building systems, or simply laying the foundation where none existed. I've always find I've always found myself in a position to build from the ground up. When I transitioned into my assistant role, I discovered a similar setup where once again there was an opportunity to lay the groundwork and create something new. Reflecting on my previous and current roles, I realized that I've always been the person who takes the initiative to handle things on my own. If I can do it, I will. And I only reach out for help when it's absolutely necessary. When you're so used to working independently, the idea of being a protege or collaborating with others feels unfamiliar and even uncomfortable. I think many of you might agree that those weekly, fortnightly, or monthly coaching sessions with your manager often feel like just another routine, something I didn't always see as contributing to my personal or professional development. However, my perspective changed dramatically when I stepped into my new role as a knowledge management advisor. I hadn't realized how much a mentor could truly contribute to my professional growth, providing guidance, assistance, insight, support that I had previously overlooked. It became clear to me just how invaluable mentorship can be accelerating with both personal and career development. So, what happened that changed my perspective? When my colleague, let's call her Lisa, not her real name, transitioned into her new role as a knowledge management advisor within one of our organization sectors, I began supporting her as part of my assistant role. What started as a professional collaboration quickly blossomed into something much deeper. Over time, our relationship evolved from colleagues to mentor and mentee, and eventually genuine friends. I consider myself truly blessed and fortunate for the bond we've built along the way. Why? Because it was Lisa who played a pivotal role in helping me prepare when I transitioned into my new role 5 years later. What initially seemed like a natural advisor assistant relationship gradually evolved into something much profound, an unspoken mentor mentee dynamic. What began as simple request for support on tasks soon became a preparation for me to enhance my skills in various areas, ultimately guiding me towards becoming a knowledge management advisor as well. Lisa's approach to mentorship was subtle yet powerful. She demonstrated patience, wisdom, and a genuine commitment to my development. Rather than simply giving me answers, she challenged me to think critically, encouraged me to step outside of my comfort zone, and always led by example. Her guidance wasn't just about completing tasks, it was about growing professionally, cultivating new skills, and developing the confidence to take on leadership roles. Through her mentorship, I've gained not only the technical knowledge I needed, but also the self-assurance to navigate complex situations and thrive in my new role. During this time, a position for knowledge management advisor opened up internally. So I am still an operations assistant at this time. At first, I didn't consider applying. However, several people I supported suggested I give it a try, as they saw how closely the role aligned with what I was already doing. By this point, I had been with the organization for 5 years, and I wasn't certain about what to do next. So I turned to Lisa for guidance. Without hesitation, she encouraged me to submit my application. At that time, I couldn't understand why they saw potential in me. Struggling with imposter syndrome, I didn't picture myself in a role or a promotion, certainly not on the same level as Lisa. But Lisa was confident in my abilities. Over the past 5 years, she had mentored me and witnessed my growth, telling me that I was now ready to take on more. Though I still had doubts, I submitted my applications. I was convinced I wouldn't get the role and that others with better qualifications would be hired. But God had a different plan. When I received the news that I had been selected, I was overwhelmed with emotion and I couldn't believe it at first. After a few days of reflection, it hit me. The roller coaster ride of the past 5 years and the mentor mentee relationship I had with Lisa were God's way of preparing me for something greater. Now that I've transitioned out of my previous role as an operations assistant, the team needed to fill the position. Without hesitation, I volunteered to support the hiring process and even took part in onboarding the new assistant. And even now, 3 months in her role, I find myself naturally extending the same mentor-mentee dynamic that Lisa and I shared. What I like to call the ripple effect. The lessons I learned from Lisa's mentorship didn't just shape how I work, they shape how I live. I've I've tried to carry those values into my interactions not only at the office but also in how I support my family, friends, and the people I encounter every day. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as the saying goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. That's the true power of mentorship. It multiplies. And I am deeply grateful to be part of that ripple, one that I hope to continue and extend here on our Meycauayan Toastmaster Club as well. Back to you, our Toastmasters of the night.
Thank you, Independent Director Chris. And I definitely agree. Every time that we have an opportunity for mentorship or someone would want to mentor us, take advantage of it. Take the opportunity because definitely we are going to learn a lot from it. Now, moving forward to our third speaker, we have Independent Director Rai De Jesus. The speech title is The Heartbeat of a Lasting Legacy. Under the path of motivational strategies and level 3.1, understanding emotional intelligence. The purpose of this is to cultivate an understanding of how your emotions impact your relationships. It is also designed to help you identify how others' emotions impact your emotional state. The time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes, and the evaluator will be our business consultant, our corporate advisor, DTM Dan Napalinga. Here you go. The Heartbeat of a Lasting Legacy, TM Rai De Jesus. TM Rai. Okay. There's a glitch in the connection of TM Rai. Okay. We will continue with TM Rai later on if when he fixes connection. We will proceed now to our fourth speaker. The fourth speaker is PM Armel Gutierrez, and The title of her speech is "The Journey Was Difficult, but it was all worth it," under the path of persuasive influence, level 5.2, on the way to DTM ship. Project is lessons learned, and the purpose of this speech is to learn about and apply the skills needed to run a lessons learned meeting during a project or after its completion. The time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. The journey was difficult, but it was all worth it. TM Armel Gutierrez.
It was December of 2021 when past International Director Christine messaged me. She offered me a position as the Division G Director for Division G. Fellow Toastmasters, be careful when she messages you because she sees something in you and you don't know yet what it is. I thought I'm done serving the division as the Area G3 Director in 2019. She said, I told her, Tita, I have to ask permission first for my family because this is a hard decision on my part. And she said, yes, that is the first thing that you should do. Ask your family. And then later on, let me tell your answer. And remember to take advantage of the situation because it is only through Zoom meetings. You will not visit the areas on site and also the different clubs. So take the advantage of having it in a Zoom meeting. Start when you are not ready. Whose famous quote is that? Because that's what I did. I accepted the role and now what? What shall I do? I have to think of my working team. And so I approached Bea Cruz from Baguio to be my area director for G1. I also called Charlie Dumawa to be my division director for G2. And I also speak to DTM Ray Batumalaki to serve as my G3 director. And I also have DTM Mark Edrada as my program quality director, as well as Rose Pagia for my club growth director. I'm so proud because I've got the best team players with me. Though July 1, 2021 is our official term as the Division G leaders, but before that, we're already busy in June because we're having the club officers training, ExCom meeting. I need to know the list of clubs under the different areas, list of club officers, the meeting schedule for every club. Woo! I was a bit tired and overwhelmed over not yet starting. Oh my God, what kind of life is this? Why did I say yes? So what shall I do? And because of Director Remy, she guided me along the way. She said, Armel, you have to have your calendar of activities for your whole term. What kind of calendar of activities? Because in my personal life, I do not have my own calendar of activities for the whole year. She said you have to know what are your trainings under each area, what are the dates for the division contest, for the area contest. There are lots of learning along the way, but it was also fun. And let me take you with that fun learning. I would like to share to you my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Thank you. These are my set of officers with me. As I've mentioned, these are my area directors for G1, Bea, for G2, Charlie, and for G3, DTM Ray. And in August 21, 2021, this is under the leadership of AD Charlie. We gave you the training in the morning and in the afternoon. In the morning, we have the world of prepositions. This was given by DTM Sonja Chan. And in the afternoon of the same day, we have the art of thinking on your feet by Toastmaster Archie T. Inlong. And on October 30, 2021, we gave you the mental health matters. It is with the kindness of Toastmaster June Acevedo. He shared all about the Act with Hope, and also our very own Toastmaster Remelinda Banzuelo. He shared all about mental wellness in pandemic. And on November 13, 2021, we gave you this training, Leverage Your Story in an International Speech, given by DTM Donnie Crandall. He is the top 10 in 2016 World Champion of Public Speakers. He is accredited as a speaker by the Toastmasters International. And this was shared to you by Area Director Ray. And also, on November 13 of the same day in the afternoon, we gave you the training on how to evaluate a speech given by our past district governor, then Gina Mapua, and also past division director, Beng Garcia. And I hope you enjoyed our training because to me, it was full of fun, inspiration, and encouragement. In between those trainings, we have to prepare for the area contest, the division contest, and also we have to monitor the club officers training of each club, because if we make the perfect attendance, that means all the officers attended, we will have the bonus that chooks to go from our district director. I'm proud because we did a good job, we did a good task and assignment. But did you know that apart from that commitment that we give is also a bit of anxiety. Anxiety is part of the game because of anxiety, we learn to think outside the box and we are leaving our comfort zone. Did you know that during the first quarter of our term, Area G1 Director Bea Cruz resigned as the area director? And oh no, what shall I do? And with politeness and conviction and smile, I approached DTM Virgil and I asked him to kindly help me lead the way for the Division G. And he accepted the director for G1. And did you know that during the contest for Area G1 and G2, we're live on the spot, and 5 minutes before the contest, Charlie's mom passed away. All of us were stunned, we're shocked. There was silence for a few seconds. Is this really happening? And with the help and guidance of distinguished Toastmaster Charles Encarnacion and Rainier Dunca, we maneuver everything. And also, did you know that it's kind of hard for me to be the leader of Area Director Ray, because we know for a fact that he is the boss, is the mighty king of the color steel. Yet all of a sudden, he's under me. But did you know that I learned something from him? So much lessons from him, and he's also an obedient team player.
Fellow Toastmasters, I'm sharing to you my story, my journey, my lessons learned as Division G Director because I want you to learn something from it. I want to inspire you because if I can do it, you can do it too. During our interview, there is a question thrown to us that, what are your goals as the district leader in Division G? And I answered, as a leader of Division G, I would like to uplift the performance of Division G. I want to retain and gain more active members in our respective areas and produce more clubs and sustain its existence. To have a strong bond and camaraderie within the division. Thus, club hopping is very much encouraged during my term. And to discover new champions in the district contest. And together with my team, we work for the common good of each members. And as we ended our term, all of us are proud because we achieved the Select Distinguished Division for Division G. Though this is not the highest performance, but then we did our best. For our achievements, we have 2 distinguished areas for G3 and G1. We've delivered 4 President's Distinguished Clubs, 1 Select Distinguished Club, 1 Distinguished Club, 1 new club, and that was Starlac Toastmasters Club, 394 total membership payments, and 12 paid clubs, 12 base 100% renewed. After doing this, I do believe that I can do anything outside of Toastmasters because I'm led and teach by this organization on how to lead people and also how to properly coordinate and communicate with them. That was my journey as the past Division G director. I know that it was difficult, but along the way, it was all worth it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, future DTM Armel Gutierrez. We're sailing right behind you in this journey. You can count on us. Now, let's go back to our another speaker. TM Rai, are you ready? So let's give it a hand again for TM Rai De Jesus, the heartbeat of a lasting legacy.
In every room where people gather, whether in a boardroom, a church, a classroom, or a humble living room, there's always a silent question waiting to be answered. Who will lead us? Not the loudest voice, not the flashiest title, but the one who can carry both the vision and the weight of the people's hearts. Leadership, my friends, isn't just about being in charge. It is about being in tune. Today, I want to share with you a story, not just of a business success, but of legacy, empathy, and an evolution of a true leadership. I started network marketing when I was 17 years old, a teenager, passionate, hungry, with aloe vera-based products in my right hand from Forever Living Products, and in one hand, a dream. Eventually, I found my true calling with DXM, where for the past 24 years, I have served customers and mentored my members. I've seen giants rise and fall. I've witnessed the storms like the 2007 financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic. It tried to shake everything I built, but they didn't. Because what I built was real. I built a community, a network of loyal customers, and a team of resilient leaders who hold the line when everything else seems to fall apart. And more than anything, I built an income opportunity that is equal, fair and just, but only for those willing to treat it as a business, not a lottery. But let me tell you this, success brings its own kind of storms. One of the greatest challenges I've faced recently is the dilemma of a divided leadership. You see, in an industry, the moment a member grows and reaches the same level as the one who recruited them, something shifts. The respect wavers. The relationship sometimes gets tested. Suddenly the question arises, why should I follow you? We are now on the same rank. And yes, sometimes the mentee even earns more than the mentors. Recently, this very thing happened in my team. A rising star achieved the same rank as their sponsor. And something changed. Instead of feeling proud, the original leader felt the sense of loss, as if their control and authority had been taken away. Rather than nurturing this emerging leader, guiding them, collaborating with them, he tried to dominate, manipulate, and control. He clung to leadership like it was a throne, not a responsibility. And that is, for me, not only short-sighted, but it is unethical. Because real leadership isn't about power. It is about people. It is not about the hierarchy. It is about harmony. A strategy based on domination may offer a short-term obedience, but it is doomed to fail in the long term. Now, I find myself in the middle. Both leaders are part of my team. Both of them are valuable. But as the Bible says in Matthew 12:25, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And the question I face is not, who do I side with? But rather, how? How do I bring them back to the same table? How do I restore the foundation of the house so the house will not collapse? When I started my leadership journey, I was deeply influenced by John Maxwell when he said, leadership is influence. I believe that. I live that. But now, after decades of practicing leadership and living in the trenches, I believe it's more than influence. Now I realize that leadership is achieving significant positive impact by building an organization where people work together toward a shared goal. And that kind of leadership is rooted in empathy. Empathy doesn't mean that you are being soft. It means you're just being strategically human. It means understanding the hearts of your people just as deeply as you understand your spreadsheets. It means knowing when to listen more than when you speak. It means building bridges. Even when your ego wants to build walls. I realize I can only do so much alone. But if I empower others, if I raise more leaders, not just followers, then 20 years from now, this team, our team will be standing, still thriving, still making a difference. Because great leadership isn't about how many people follow you. It is about how many leaders you raise. So today, I will leave you this. Whether you lead wherever you lead, in DXN, in your church, company, or even in your own household, lead with vision, yes. Lead with courage, absolutely. Lead. Most importantly, lead with empathy. Because empathy, ladies and gentlemen, is what will allow us to influence with integrity, serve with sincerity, and we are not just building a team, we are building a legacy. So this is my question to all of you. As you walk in your leadership journey, ask yourself, who am I raising today? Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster, right? And now, since we're running out of time, we're supposed to be finished with our second business by 8:15. Now it's already 8:25, 10 minutes behind. We are now moving forward to the evaluation portion, business of our meeting for tonight. And this portion gives us feedback for improvement in the future delivery of our speeches. And to lead our evaluation for tonight, we have our business consultant and the Prince Charming of Division C. Would like to call on DTM Jedfrey Tan.
Yes, good evening, fellow shareholders and esteemed board of directors. As a business consultant heading the Audit and Risk Committee, it is my role this evening to review or to conduct a quality review of our session. Much like a board conducting a strategic review of our company's performance. So in this portion of our board meeting, allow me to assess how well our team has executed their roles, delivered their presentations, and upheld the standards of excellence that we strive for in Toastmasters. Worry not, I do not see any golden parachute happening this evening. So feedback is the currency of growth, and hopefully we'll be making a return on investments or ROIs in the investments that we place in our personal development. So let's get down to business, and let me start calling first our legal advisor, Toastmaster Christine Tembliket, to give us the table topics evaluation. Can you please give a big round of applause? You're on mute, Ate
Yeah,
Christine.
I'm on mute. Okay. And welcome to Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. It's good to see you around. So, table topics. We have the table topics, and it's all about conglomerates. So, we're talking about the corporate setting of people. And let me start with our table topic speakers. Okay. Or maybe the table topic master, because our table topic master was very creative. He made a different approach to our table topics, having more people speak, because there is somebody will initiate the question and then another one gave the response. So in effect, we have twice the number of people participating in our table topic session, and I admire you for that, and I think it is very creative and very productive. Okay. And although I think it relieved you of thinking questions, so you passed it on to our participants. But nevertheless, congratulations, distinguished Toastmaster Mark. I applaud you for that, and for the very intuitive conduct of the table topic session, because you inserted certain context in between the speakers. Okay, so let me proceed to our table topic speakers. First, I the question, And distinguished Toastmaster Dan, of course, being an experienced corporate executive, answered excellently. He said, as a true leader, you listen to the proposals, which I definitely agree, and you speak last because you assessed whatever proposals you listen, and the executive officer will always give the last say because after assessing completely and wisely whatever he has heard. So I think that was very, very wise, and we got the wisdom from an experienced person. The only thing that maybe I can suggest to distinguish Toastmaster Dan is the wisdom that I would like you to share with us is how that executive director must decide at the end after assessing whatever he has heard. So if you can give that, then we have a complete proposal. Okay. Now, let me go to our second speaker, and this is Rose provided a question, which is how to negotiate the golden parachute. And Chris, working for an NGO, I think discussed her position currently as an employee of a non-government institution, if I got it right. Now, however, I think, Chris, you dealt lengthily on the nature of where you are now, the nature of your company, and you devoted a little less time on how you will negotiate on your golden parachute. Although at the end you mentioned that you will be taken care of by your directors. But then I think the question is how will you negotiate for your golden parachute? So that should actually compose the majority of your speech. But overall, you gave us how you want to be treated and how you are secured enough in your current profession. Okay, so let me go to our third speaker and raise the question of how to raise funds to provide for the golden parachute. And I know John was a bit flabbergasted at first, but in the end, I think he was able to recover by saying that I think there should be fairness in trying to come up with the golden parachute, but at the same time without affecting the other people or components of the company. So I would like you maybe for your future table topic speech, John, just go directly to how you want the steps to be taken care to be taken by that particular CEO or by the company so that you will be able to answer directly the question. Okay? And so for our last speaker, our general evaluator provided a question, what is the decision you regret most and why? And well, I was looking at Rai, and I know he is so eager to answer the question. So Rai defined integrity, which is actually the core of his particular speech. And I think he's referring to a situation wherein a partner, if I'm not mistaken, a partner failed to exercise this kind of value in their business environment. But right, I think it should be a more direct answer so that we will get the gist of how this integrity didn't work for you and your partner. So at the end, the lesson that you have shared with us was very contributory to that particular speech. And as a suggestion, maybe discuss integrity at the end more lengthily after describing your situation. So, but overall, you were able to relate to us the value of integrity for you. So I finish with this evaluation and I return the control to our general evaluator, Jedfrey.
Thank you very much to our legal advisor. It is my pleasure to have finally joined your club meeting. So our legal advisor, as one of the pillars of our corporation, delves straight to business, if you guys noticed that. Coupled with her keen business acumen, she was able to provide analytical comments on the answers that were given by our participants. Very direct with her approach, while some table topics evaluators will do a recap or give a summary of what the participants gave. Our legal advisor went straight to what the comments were, giving us the commendation and then the recommendation. And notice how she kept the evaluation very brief. One good commendation, one recommendation, and notice a smooth flow. To Auntie Christine, perhaps just to be able to increase on the value that we get out of the tips that you have shared, you might want to also try to answer the question how, especially when you were giving the recommendations. So I usually focus on these three questions in my evaluation: the what, either the recommendation or the commendation, why it is important, and finally show us also how. So in the case of Toastmaster Dan's answer, when you gave a recommendation of a specific example, perhaps you might also want to share what example it is that you want for him to provide, or what are the specific steps that you want Toastmaster John to point out or to mention, just to really give the speaker a full idea of the recommendation that we are giving them. But thank you very much, Toastmaster Christine, for sharing, for showing everybody that very sharp business acumen that was very much evident in your table topics evaluation. Now let me move on to our corporate advisor. Let us give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Anna to evaluate our first prepared speaker.
Thank you, General Evaluator. For I am to evaluate the MDs, and in the spirit of her prepared speech, which is to apply the feedback she have learned in the past, I commend that she was able to apply actually what was the recommendation, which is she beautifully applied the pauses, and her speech were actually embedded with a proper pauses um in between certain in between changes in characters or changes in character, which actually provided us an idea when the story changes characters, which is quite apparent in her speech. A few recommendations though, because as we believe there is always room for growth. Number one, we are all on the Zoom meeting, right? And apologies, my camera is off, some technical difficulties. But I do recommend to further use and to further use, or rather be aware of how we look in the camera, especially when we do our hand gestures. Because sometimes even though we do our hand gestures and we are doing it, it's not completely captured in the camera. So that is something that we need to consider. And another one is for prepared speeches where we incorporate different characters as well as different dialogues. It can be something that we need to improve, is to provide more emphasis or more exaggeration on the different characters in terms of voices, in terms of how we characterize them, how we intonate them, so as to provide more playfulness in the way we tell the story. But overall, the MVs, your speech has really given me quite a beautiful understanding of midwives, which is a new perspective for me. Thank you so much, the MVs. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Corporate Advisor Anna. Now, to Corporate Advisor Anna, I hope you can also match the level of energy of our speaker right at the very beginning when she had a very catchy introduction. In the same way, when we give our evaluation, excite us at the beginning, pique our curiosity, and attract our attention, lock in our attention right away. Always remember to start with a hook. You may also want to establish a connection with the speaker right away, doing away with the formalities. our speaker gave a very, very important speech about the importance of the role of midwives, which I think will be easy for any audience, any type of audience, to be able to relate and create a connection with. And finally, you might want to also strengthen the transitions, because I was somehow lost when you already moved from your commendation to the recommendation. So just giving us a line or two to signal that you're already moving from one point to the other would really help in terms of creating a logical flow in our mind. But thank you very much for sharing all of those wonderful tips, Toastmaster Anna. Now let me invite our second speech evaluator. Please give a big round of applause to the corporate secretary, Rose Pagia.
Good evening to our distinguished Toastmaster, Jed, our business consultant for tonight. Okay, Toastmaster Chris. Wait. Oh, there you go. Thank you to the Zoom master. Toastmaster Chris. Like a conglomerate, there are many different things and experiences. When you group them together, they form a whole entity. Or for you, in your speech, your mentorship journey. Now, let me tell you what I found notable in your speech. I commend you on how you were clear, clear as crystal. I commend that you were organized in your speech. The organization was shown as through the time and the dates that you gave. You started 2019, and you start after 5 years. Those were the examples. And then you were clear on your delivery, and your vocal or your voice has a good, clear quality. And I also like that you are clear on your purpose, because the objective of this project is to share a mentorship experience which you have successfully did. Now, how can we move on to your speech expansion, Toastmaster Chris? I noticed that you have mentioned many roadblocks in your speeches. Example, you were adjusting at first, and then you were used to working independent, and then you had imposter syndrome, and actually there are many more, a few more. I suggest to adding more solutions to your speech as well, so that you can have a sense of balance. I also appreciate that you, of course, shared your story on mentorship. I would like to suggest sharing a dialogue between your mentor, Lisa, and you. That's what I suggest, because that would be a pivotal moment, spotlight for your speech. This will give you a chance for vocal variety, also for gestures, because you will be moving your head to demonstrate the dialogue. And it will also give your speech a change of pace. Like there will be a starting, and then the climax would be the story, and then, or your dialogue, and then to your conclusion. All right, Toastmaster Chris, overall, you don't need a golden parachute, because we will not let you go. We will even push you to join a contest. Sing it right now. And let's see here. All your positive branches, organization, clear and purposeful. Be reminded of them. Next time, please take note of giving your speech a sense of balance and flair. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Chris, for sharing your experience. Wonderful experience for me as a listener as well. And with that, I return the control back to our business consultant, General Evaluation, Toastmaster Chris.
Thank you very much, Madam Corporate Secretary. I really appreciated how you started off by your evaluation by relating it to the theme, talking about conglomerate. And I'm also very grateful about with the summation that you gave towards the end, because oftentimes we as evaluators forget that we also need to provide a quick summary of the points that we have just given. While you talked about the clarity as one of the commendation of our speaker, I can also echo the same thing, that there was clarity in your evaluation. You had markers, and you organize your evaluation using headers, so that it was very easy for me to follow and understand what it is that you were giving pointers about. In terms of the delivery, I would also like to challenge the delivery, your delivery. I would want to see excitement in your voice, understanding that we are in an online setting. Of course, it is very much difficult to give a full expanse or to show a full expanse of our gestures, but we can always try to tweak our voice so that we show more excitement. After all, we want to show our speakers that we are also excited. We learned a lot about their speech and we're excited to return the favor with that same excitement in our voice. In terms of the details, you might want to provide examples of or details of what the solutions are. And finally, a very good opportunity for you to answer the question again, going back to what I suggested earlier with the question how. When you mention the dialogue, perhaps insert a very quick dialogue of how you would have wanted for the speaker to do a role play with that dialogue present. But overall, thank you very much to our corporate secretary. And now let us move on to our next corporate advisor. Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Dan to give his evaluation of our third prepared speaker.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. I have to apologize. My video is not working. So I only have to be Mario Lanza, or you want the voice of the century? Right. Congratulations. That was a very good speech that you delivered. The structure is fundamentally strong. It was logical in sequence, and it permeates to the elements of what leadership is all about. The examples that you gave are realistic and down to earth because you have experienced it. The best way is to tell the story of what you have experienced, relate it to your subject, and the story turns out to be a very good leadership experience that you have done in your professional career. Congratulations. That gave us a lot of bits of information in what leadership is all about. And I would like to commend you. Number one, leadership is knowing the purpose. Leadership is knowing the character, the skill, and the capacity of your people. Leadership is doing and working together with your people. And I would like to say that you imputed a very good leadership criteria, which is empathy. Because empathy basically covers the relationship and developing relationship that you have with your people. That was a very good story. That was a very good example of how leadership should be. I would like to suggest, by the way, before I proceed, I would like to say that you were as handsome as you are. You were dressed really to deliver a very good inspirational speech. We were inspired by your leadership. Your English pronunciation were all in a very high level of skill. However, I have some pointers to give you as well. Number one, despite the good story, you could have emphasized the story by having a very good poses to emphasize major points. Your vocal variety was good, but if you impute poses on it, then people tends to think, and the poses will make them realize more of the topic that you are trying to tell them. Number two, I would like you not to dance, but I would like you at least to limit your body movement. Your gestures are good except for the body movement. Minimize it a little bit and make it in harmony with your vocal variety and your gesture. All in all, Rai, you have to make a go and perhaps recommend to us what would be the best solution that you should give your audience so that the common problem of interpersonal relationship, envy, jealousy, and all of the things that is happening in the corporate world, a leader should be able to manage well. Congratulations. Back to you, our consultant, Jed Tan.
Thank you very much, Corporate Advisor Dan. Leadership is knowing the purpose, and you came in this evening with a purpose. But I would just like to mention, I really have this thing about starting with apologies. So instead of giving us an apology and giving us an explanation of why you're not able to turn on your camera, perhaps you might want to be creative. Starting with an apology for me is anticlimactic. So you can just start off by, Toastmaster, our fellow Toastmasters, I purposely did not turn on my camera because I want all of you to just imagine, visualize what I will be giving in my evaluation. And then just go
Thank
straight
you.
on with your evaluation. I also noticed that when you mentioned the strengths, I felt that I somehow felt that the details were lacking. I hope you can add an explanation, Toastmaster Dan, as to how these strengths or commendation were able to add value to the speech. Similarly, I wish to see more depth in your recommendations also. For the first point of recommendation and the second, the pause and limiting the body movement, I wish to see an answer to the question why. Why is it important? Why do you want the speaker to improve on these 2 points? And on the third recommendation, providing the best solution to answer the question or the problem that was presented by the speaker. Perhaps you can give an answer to the question how, giving an example to the speaker so that again, the speaker will be able to get the full comprehension of what it is that we want for him to improve on. But thank you very much, Toastmaster Dan, for sharing your evaluation. And finally, let me call our last corporate advisor to give an evaluation for our fourth prepared speaker. Please welcome Corporate Advisor Lit.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our consultant, Jed Tan. I'm so honored to be able to evaluate tonight our director, Armel. And I'd like to use her name, Armel, A-R-M-E-L, to be my guide, or I'll use it as an acronym as I try to evaluate her. The title itself tells us already what the message will be all about. The journey was difficult, but it was all worth it. That was a very long title, but it's a beautiful one. And for your name, Armel, let's start with A. I stood in awe as I was listening to you, because when you share the quotation, start when you're not ready. Oh my, you were telling us the real situation when you took this work or job as a director. You're not ready for that, right? But then you took it just the same. And you gained our respect for doing so. And I'm glad that your message from beginning to end was informational, and yet you were able to inject some humor as well when you said that be watchful when distinguished Toastmaster Christine gives you a call or a text message. That could really be dangerous. And it was really dangerous. It was scary that someone like you from area suddenly was asked to take this job, but we're all glad you did. And we cannot help but admire you more for really taking the risk and jumping into that leadership role. And that gave you quite a big experience as a leader. It elevated you. And that is the price that you got for taking a very hard job. And for Elle, we saw how you transitioned from being a not so ready leader up to someone who got lost in leadership. Suddenly you were just doing it, and yes, you were lost in leadership. You were able to let go, and you just allowed that leadership role to take full control of you. You know, all throughout your narrative, I know that it's not just me, but everyone was really listening well, because your journey is about a lesson that you have learned in your leadership experience. And of course, we just wanted to get everything that we could, all the leadership tips that we could learn from you. And personally, I would say that I was so inspired and I was blessed to hear you share this story of yours. And as I was listening, I am really glued in your speaking voice. It was very pleasant. It was like a good storyteller telling her story to all her listeners. And, you know, I am one evaluator, and I know it's really not a good thing about me, but I just have to be honest. And I know that our general evaluator could help me on this. I really find it hard to find something negative in any speaker that I listen to. And just in your case, I was saying your voice was pleasant from beginning to end. And let me just use that so I could just help you in your next speech project. I think for the coming speeches of your life, I think you can afford not to be so pleasant all the time. You know, that's one thing I'm waiting for you to say or do. Get angry, Armel, for the first time in your life. Like raise your voice, something like that. Maybe that is one thing I'd like you to focus on, that you have to just put more force and authority in your delivery because you are a leader. So that's one thing I could say, because when you do that, I think there will be more emotions and your speech would be deeply moving. So let me just end my evaluation in saying that thank you for your leadership. You were a good example to every one of us. And indeed, what you have learned as a leader, we have learned as well. Thank you for sharing. Back to you, our consultant, Jed Tan.
So thank you very much, Corporate Advisor Lit. I really enjoyed the casual conversational approach that you adopted with your evaluation, and you really were able to reinforce the leader in Direct Arbel. We actually served together as division director under the term of District Director Richard 3 years ago, and I saw how efficient and how responsible Director Armel was. Now, Toastmaster Lit, I understand that it's always a challenge to find a recommendation, especially when we enjoy listening to the speech and when we are in awe. But this is our challenge as evaluators. So just to sort of address the concern that you raised, you may want to try to look at the content, and the organization side. If you're not able to pick out anything in the delivery, there's so many things to talk about the organization. And I mean, I can always give you a call tomorrow to go through the list that I have prepared and share with you a few of my notes. And um, one thing I would also want to see from you during your evaluation is the summation. Because I understand that at the start you mentioned that you're going to evaluate the speaker using the acronyms RML, but somehow throughout the evaluation, I somehow missed what the other letters represented. And a summation would really be good so that we get reminded of what it was. And finally, towards the closing, I would want to challenge you to give a more uplifting closing to really encourage the speaker, especially that the speaker was talking about her leadership journey. And because we all agree that she was the leader that a leader that really sort of manifested the values of Toastmasters, then a very powerful close towards the end of your evaluation would have upped the ante in your evaluation. But thank you very much for sharing that evaluation to our speaker.
Thank you, noted, sir. Thank you so much for all the comments.
Thank you very much. Now, as the head of the Audit and Risk Committee, I would like to call on the members of my committee, starting off with our language evaluator. Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Mar.
Yes, good evening, everybody. As your language evaluator, I have threefold role. First is to keep tab of the use of the word of the night. Second is to look for oversights in terms of mechanics or in terms of tenses, numbers, agreement between subject and predicate. And the third one is to keep note of those beautifully worded and very thought-provoking passages from the speakers and from the table topics. Yes, allow me to share my screen. Hello, everybody. Does everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Yes, for the word of the night, golden parachute. For me, it's a new learning because I've heard this word for the very first time. It's because of the chat GPT. So I noted that those who use these words were the TM Mark, TM Litz, TM Christine, TM Rose, and our general evaluator, Jeffrey Tan. Now, for oversights, there's one thing I can say, that most of the oversights is just in the use of tenses. Well, most likely, because when people are telling their stories, and usually it is in the past, so chances are this is where one will commit an oversight. Yes, like this one, his mother request. I will not tell the names, but of course you can deduce from I told the husband to stood behind. And of course, in the case of a midwife, without hesitation, I volunteer. This is something that very enthusiastic, but with the help of, this is from someone who has held different position, we maneuver. Yes, yes, and after this, we now turn to beautifully turned phrases, notable, thought-provoking ideas, and there were many of them. Yes, the first one is, of course, a very catchy title. Even I keep note even of very catchy title, The Heartbeat of a Lasting Legacy. And you know where this came from Toastmaster, right? And of course, we have we continue to have quotes from the from someone who is a midwife. Midwifery is really a ministry of presence or feeling and an act of leadership from PM leads. And of course, being midwife is not just the delivery of baby. It is giving strength, courage, and hope. Wow. That is attribute the profession. And of course, this one is something notable because before a profession exists, human beings must first be born. And I also was able to pick from Toastmaster Chris. And of course, we all know that if you give men a fish, he will live for a day. If we teach men how to fish, that's for the lifetime. It is comparable to TM mentorship. Yes, there is an analogy to TM member mentorship. And of course, this is one that really challenged me. Start when you are not ready. This was really to Toastmaster Arbel and relate to us. And of course, we have a galore from Toastmaster Rai. Leadership is not just being in charge, but being in tune. Treating business is not just a lottery, but a responsibility and a trust. And of course, this is a good praise, a short-term obedience. And of course, he seemed to be a guru in leadership because he says significant positive people working together to achieve the same common goal. And of course, this one, empathy, not just being soft, but strategically human. And a lot of questions he threw, like, is leadership more of people following you, or is just the number of leaders you are raising? Are you building a team, or are you building a legacy? So these are really good thoughts from Toastmaster Rai. And yes, thank you very much. And this is we are not able to only pick words, but golden nuggets if we listen intently to all speeches. Thank you very much. I return the control back to the general evaluator. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mar. Then at this point, let me call on our counter and motion evaluator. Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster John.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight, as the counter, I listened for filler words like and us, and also watch for any distracting gestures. Just like how a conglomerate works best when all parts are clear and organized, our speeches become stronger when our words and movements are smooth and intentional. Most of these stayed clear and consistent throughout the meeting, so I only have a very few on my list. Here's what I observed. So first, for the table topics master, our executive director, DTM Mark, uttered 4 filler words. For the table topics, TM Chris uttered 2 filler words. Second is Toastmaster John uttered 7 words, filler words. And last, for the evaluation, Toastmaster Mar uttered 5 filler words. Overall, let's continue working on keeping our words clean and movements intentional. So each of our speeches functions as smoothly as a well-run team or company. Thank you. Back to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster John. And now let me call on our time evaluator, our timer. Please give a big round of applause once again to Toastmaster Armel.
Good evening once again to you, our general evaluator and fellow Toastmasters. We started on time at exactly 7 o'clock in the evening. And for the table topic session, we started at 7:15 and ends at 7:39, overtime by 4 minutes. Congratulations to our table topic speakers. All of you were on time. And for the prepared speakers, Toastmaster Liz, you're overtime by 1 minute and 11 seconds. Toastmaster Rai, overtime by 42 seconds. And Toastmaster Chris, you're just in time, 7 minutes and 19 seconds. And for me, I was overtime for 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Sorry for that. And for the table topics evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Christine, we're on time, 6 minutes and 8 seconds. And for our prepared speakers evaluator, overtime for Toastmaster Rose by 43 seconds, Toastmaster Lead by 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Toastmaster Dan by 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And for our tag team, Toastmaster Mar, your overtime by 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Our counter, Toastmaster Jan, just on time. And me, I'm delivering this as 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fellow Toastmasters, remember that lost time is never found again. That's why in Toastmasters, we have to keep watch of our time to give chance to others. Over to you, to our general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Audit and Risk Committee. Kudos to all of you because you were able to explain your roles at the very beginning, and towards the end, you reinforced your roles with a very strong closing statement. Everybody delivered the roles with positive tone. Perhaps for our counter and timer, you might want to use graphics to present your report because sometimes our members would also want to be able to see something to satisfy our visual cravings, but just a very, very minor detail. Thank you once again. And I would like to echo the words of our language evaluator. Everyone plays an important, of our counter. Everyone plays an important role in the success of our conglomerate. So at this point, I would like to invite everybody to kindly please unmute yourselves and oblige me with this one request. Let us all give our evaluation team a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Now going to our chairman, Toastmaster Juliet. I noticed these successful initiatives that you showed this evening. First, the analogy. You were able to throw in business terms like having quorum, the semi-annual meeting, future shareholders, voting rights, the order of business, making me feel that I am really attending a board meeting. Second, you were very flexible. When we experienced problem with corporate advisor rights internet connection, so as the chairman, you did not hesitate to move on to the next speaker before calling back our third speaker when everything was already all set and ready. And I was able to notice that you did not panic when this mishap happened. So probably owing to your experience. And when you mentioned the prize, that got me very excited, and I'm sure the members who are present at this meeting are also very much excited as to who will be winning those wonderful prizes. And this is very important because it allows you to maintain the interest of the audience all throughout the meeting. Now, for one actionable improvement to our chairman, when you do the introduction of the role takers, you might want to give a quick trivia or an introduction of the role taker. So tell us something that we do not know of yet about the next role taker. So when you were introducing the speakers, the prepared speakers, you were able to hit on the project details, the purpose of the project, the evaluators, the title, the timing. And before you introduce the speaker, just give us a quick introduction of our role taker, because after all, your role or the role of the Toastmaster of the evening is that of a host. And as host, we would also want to give a proper introduction to the next role taker because we want to hype up the interest of the audience so that they will welcome the role taker with open arms. But kudos to you, our chairman, for handling a very successful board meeting without any hiccups, without any problems, without any violent reactions at all. So once again, can I invite everybody to give our chairman a big, big round of applause. I think I was able to gain a bit of traction in terms of time. So before I give my general comments, can I just quickly ask our participants who are the guests who are guests for this meeting? Who are our guests?
Jello is our guest.
Okay, Toastmaster Jello, but do we have a non-Toastmasters guest?
We have many.
We have a lot. Okay. So very briefly, I would like to highlight the importance of the evaluation portion. Earlier, I adopted the business approach, the business-like approach, and going straight to the evaluation. But at this point, let me relax a little bit and give our guests a full understanding and appreciation of what evaluation is. So to me personally, evaluation is the most important part of a Toastmasters meeting. And if you ask me why, because it is during evaluation that we are able to fulfill our promise of allowing our members to improve their communication and leadership skills, because it is through evaluation that we are able to give positive and constructive feedback. And I hope our guests this evening were able to see how our evaluators structure their evaluation. Most of them, if not all, adopted the kiss, kick, and kiss approach. So we kiss, we give out the strengths, we kick, we give our recommendations, but do take note that our recommendations are still structured on a positive note. And finally, we go back to giving our kisses because we want to elevate and encourage our role takers, especially our speakers, both the prepared speakers and the table topic speakers, to really get back on track, to really deliver speeches again, and to participate in our Toastmasters meeting. So I do hope that you're able to see where the growth is coming from. It will come from the evaluation portion. And to our guests, I hope you're able to appreciate the beauty of Toastmasters and why we are all so excited about Toastmasters. I have been a Toastmaster for 13 years now and counting. Initially, I joined with the idea or with the promise that I will only join for a year. And after that, I'll try to move on to a different organization. But 13 years down the line, here I am, still very active and very much passionate about the organization because I have seen how I have grown over time, not just in terms of my communication or public speaking skills, but also I was encouraged to take on leadership skills. I was trained, I was honed, and I really saw the difference from when I started to where I am now. Most of you will probably say, "Oh, I'm scared. I don't want to join your club. I don't want to be a Toastmaster because you guys are all so good." Let me tell you, when I started and when I answered my first table topics question, I had everything in my mind, a very, very perfect answer. I sort of thought about it once or twice before I went up to the stage. But when I was there, I was only able to utter two sentences and I said thank you. And I felt so shy after that. And I vowed to myself that I will redeem myself. I then volunteered for more table topics. I am an introvert. Yes, I am an introvert, but you see me very talkative right now. But that is because of Toastmasters. So the gist, I hope really that our members or our guests this evening are able to see the beauty of Toastmasters, the benefits that you will get out of joining Toastmasters. It's not just about standing up and delivering speeches, but there's more to Toastmasters than just improving your communication skills. And over time, as you become members in Meycauayan Toastmasters Club, you will be able to see all of the myriad benefits that you get out of our Toastmasters journey. So please do sign up in a short while. The VP for membership, please contact our guest or get in touch with our guest, and perhaps we can get guests joining us this evening. Okay. Now, as my final spiel, I would be giving a general comments of how our meeting went. So I saw these value adds in our board meeting this evening. Firstly, the club is so abuzz with creativity, starting from the theme, very, very unique theme. Actually, this is the first time I attended a Toastmasters meeting that is patterned as a board of directors meeting or a business meeting. The table topics was also very unique, which was also pointed out earlier by table topics evaluator, in that we had a question and answer format instead of the usual. So very, very interesting. Again, this is the first time I've encountered this. I can also see that you are a very strong club. And I measure this in terms of the number of prepared speakers that we have in a meeting. With a whopping number this evening, 4 prepared speakers. Normally, the clubs that I get to visit would only have 2. In our club, we try to prepare for 5, but of course, we anticipate 1 or 2 might back out or cancel at the last minute. So we usually end up with either 3 or 4. So this is something that I'm quite used to, and I'm really, really happy to see another club who gives a lot of or who gives opportunities for members to really develop. And a few process improvements for our company or our club. Number 1, perhaps would be the opportunity to speak. Earlier, when we presented the technical term of the night, I noticed that the word master called on our Toastmaster of the evening, if I remembered correctly. So we have quite a lot of members this evening. Perhaps you might want to call a member who doesn't have any role. So this is a perfect opportunity for our members who weren't given any role to also be able to practice. You may also want to call on guests. Sometimes there are guests who are willing to volunteer. Of course, we don't want to force them, but we want to encourage them to volunteer. Second, affirmation and encouragement. I understand that the chat box was used during the evaluation portion to give out acknowledgement or to acknowledge a good performance. But I would want to see this right from the very start of the meeting. Make the most out of the chat box. Send messages. You can also go as far as giving jokes, heckling, because again, we are in an online setting. So normally, if this was an on-site setting, we will just blurt out our jokes or we just heckle. But given the constraints of an online setting, use the chat box. Make sure that the chat box is always buzzing with messages. And just a very, very minor detail, you might also want to distribute some roles at the very beginning. So I felt that our acting CEO, the Vice President of Education, was bombarded with quite a lot of roles at the very beginning. So we also have other officers present in the meeting, and this is a good practice to also distribute some of the roles to them. It can be a practice for when they assume the position and for the next term. So depending on how the VP of Education was able to distribute the loads, try to get more officers involved, because this is also one strategy for us to make sure that our members attend the meeting. When we give them roles, we are sure, and when they confirm, we are sure that they will be present in the meeting. But thank you very much, Meycauayan Toastmasters Club, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be your head of the audit and risk committee this evening as a business consultant. I hope the club continues this culture of infusing creativity to make meetings exciting. Please continue to give our members opportunity to practice, to improve, and nudge them to grow in their Toastmasters journey, so that at the next board meeting, they will realize how much value of their investment has already gone up. Thank you very much. And back to our Toastmaster of the evening.
Wow. Thank you so much, DTM Jed. That was really a lot for us to digest for tonight's meeting. And I'm sure that we've learned a lot, not just the speakers, but all of us, the officers and the directors of Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. We are going to apply what you have suggested to us in the future. And I'm sure that we will improve more with the current officers, especially our hardworking Vice President or Chief CEO or Executive Director, Mark Edrada. I'm sure you will continue your position for the next term for us to be on this level, top level again. Okay, so now we are going to do our voting rights. At this point in time, I want you to, I will be calling all the speakers, and DTM Mark will be flashing their faces. So you will have to cast your vote directly to DTM Mar. It's a secret voting. So you have to click his name so that your chat will go directly to him. So I guess, you know how to use the chatting directly, right? To Jennifer, Judy, George. Okay. So let me call on the speakers. Please flash them, Mark, again. Number 1 is yourself. Second is DTM Christine. Christine. Dan. There you go. And Dan. Next. No video because of he's too handsome to show his video for tonight. Then Rose. Rose. Lit. Chris. Sevillejo. John Centeno. DTM Jed, of course. TM Rai. TM Liz. TM Armel. TM Anna. And TM Mar. So all in all, we have 13 who are vying for the monthly incentives being given by the company. So now it's time to cast your vote. Cast your votes. You can also vote for yourselves. I will have to close my piece so that I can pass on the podium for our other businesses. So is there anyone here who did the research about the meaning of the executive director? Okay, so the meaning of executive director by Google is a director holding a high rank position in a corporation. Well, that is true. Anyway, it's in our corporation, that's the same thing, no? In any bylaws, I think that's true as well. So in our organization, we have normal directors who are attending the board meeting, and we have the executive directors. And these executive directors are the president and the chairman. They are holding the top ranking position in the organization. And these positions are being elected by the majority of the board. Usually in the Securities and Exchange Commission bylaws, it's only 1 year, but for us, it's 3 years. So every 3 years, officers are being renewed and re-elected. And so happened that this is my second term as president. So this is my 5th year as president of the corporation. That's it. So thank you very much, board of directors and officers, for our meeting tonight. And hopefully that we have learned a lot from the team conglomerate and all this business and holding of board meeting in the corporate world. And I will now turn over the control to our executive director, DTM Mark Edrada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And the
everyone.
winners
Thank you.
for our voting rights, the third placer goes to Toastmaster Liz. The, the second placer goes to Toastmaster Chris. And the First placer is Toastmaster malaman sa pagbabalik. Ito ang ating announcements.
Ano ba?
For our prepared speech evaluators, you may now complete and send the digital evaluation forms to your assigned prepared speakers. Do this by logging into your Pathways Basecamp account, click on Feedback tab, and select Evaluation Feedback and access the digital evaluation form intended to your assigned speaker. Then complete the information required in the digital evaluation form. Prepared speakers, please mark your speech projects as completed right after this meeting. Congratulations, Toastmaster Armel, for completing the Level 4 of Persuasive Influence Path. As of April 21, 2025, the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club has achieved Perfect 10 President's Distinguished Club goals for the current term. In line with this, the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club attained 31 educational awards from different members. This garnered the current term 2024 to 2025 the highest number of educational awards for the past 33 years. These are a list of our target level completers before the current term ends. I encourage every one of you to deliver your speeches even outside our club meetings. The Meycauayan Toastmasters Club has a roadmap for the progress of our members. This is the list of our target DTMs or Distinguished Toastmasters for the rest of the decade, in time for the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club's 40th anniversary in 2031. As part of our term end celebration, the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club will recognize our fellow Toastmasters, both seasoned and new joiners, on their achievements in communication, leadership, education, and mentorship. By shining a spotlight on the individual and collective achievements, the club envisions to strengthen its bond and set the stage for the next generation of impactful leaders and communicators. Even our guest general evaluators have the opportunity to grab the Best General Evaluator in the Guest Category Award in Meycauayan Toastmasters Club's most prestigious award-giving body. This is the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club's first Diamond Gavel Awards Night on June 24, 2025, Tuesday at 7 p.m. via Zoom, with delayed webcast on the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club's official Facebook page. The 28-day book writing online course is now available. It contains online lecture videos that you may access 24/7. There will also be group coaching sessions once a month and unlimited individual email coaching for 1 year. To those who are interested to unleash the book author in you through the 28-day book writing online course, feel free to approach me. Let us greet our beloved Area Director Sedi a happy birthday this April. Our next educational meeting will be on May 13, 2025 at 7 p.m. The theme will be Spa, as we will know how each of us relaxes outside work. This will be hosted by Toastmaster Oscar as our Toastmaster for that evening. Our next WMS will be held on May 3 at 2 p.m. via Zoom. The weekend mentoring session is open to Meycauayan Toastmasters Club members. Handa na ba ang lahat at ang mga talumpati para sa darating na club level patimpalak sa wikang Filipino? 4 na kategorya ang ating paglalaban-labanan para sa nasabing patimpalak. Ang paksang panghapag, ang pagsusuri at pagpapahalaga, ang nakatatawang talumpati at ang pamukaw na talumpati. Ito ay isang paghahanda at pagsasanay sa maaaring dumating na interclub patimpalak sa wikang Filipino sa Agosto. Gaganapin ang ating club level patimpalak sa ika-24 ng Mayo sa ganap na alas 9 ng umaga, na susundan ng ating team building sa hapon. To our viewers of our social media platform, We invite you to join us to our regular educational meetings every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 to 9:30 p.m. This is done online via Zoom. Admission is free, and follow us on our official social media accounts. For more personal and professional lessons about communication and leadership, download the previous issues of the Toast, the official e-newsletter of the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. Download it for free by scanning the QR code at your screen. Businesses become empires because of leadership, communication, and management. Because we learn leadership, communication, and management in Toastmasters, we are a step forward in making ourselves leaders in our own empires. Go grab the opportunity to be a chief in your own department or your own enterprise and lead your team to successful heights with sustainability and integrity. Fellow Toastmasters, see you next meeting. I am your Vice President for Education, Mark Edrada, and this is the family that rises and leads with confidence and competence. This is Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. And before we end, let us announce the winner, the first placer for our voting rights, and this is Toastmaster. It goes to Toastmaster Rai. Okay, congratulations, Toastmasters Rai, Chris, and Liz. All right, so before we adjourn, let's hear from our guests. Is Toastmaster Jello here? Is he still here?
No, I think he left already.
All right. How about our guest, Donovan? What can you say about our proceedings?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Donovan, and yeah, I found this group because of Sir Rai. Na-invite niya ako to join din Meycauayan. And yeah, for my feedback and also for my experience from this Toastmaster Club. First of all, I would like to acknowledge and thank Sir Rai kanina for introducing me to everyone and also to explaining things around Toastmasters. And also, I love that we started also on time, on the dot, exactly 7 o'clock p.m. And also the opening video for me, like mga guests na katulad ko na magkaroon ng glimpse or idea with what's really happening with Toastmasters. And also I love that every transition ng gagawin or parang another parang part of the structure, laging ina-emphasize ni Sir Mark yung for the benefit of the guests or new people, ina-explain mo kung ano yung mga nangyayari. And yun, I'm really just in awe and happy with everything na na-observe ko, natutunan ko. Right now, I'm just really learning and absorbing everything. So yeah, I guess that's my feedback, sir.
Right, you're welcome to join Meycauayan Toastmasters Club every meeting. So I think Rai will communicate with you. All right. So thank you, Donovan. Nice meeting you here. And then can you hear any feedback from Sir Fortunato Servano? I think Sir Fortunato is the cousin of Tita Elise. Hi, Sir Fortunato. Good evening. If you can share something.
You're on mute, sir.
Hi, thank you once again. I enjoyed listening. Hope this would further improve my English proficiency, personal development. There's no age limit.
Yes.
Once again, thank you. I'm just observing. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Sir Fortunato. Like what I have said to Donovan, you're welcome to join us in Toastmasters. Actually, hindi sasabihin ko sa iba mga guest na interview natin. Si Sir George. Sir George, welcome to Meycauayan Toastmasters Club. Can you say something, any feedback regarding our meeting? Anyway, this is a custom in Meycauayan Toastmasters Club that we let our guests say something about the meeting. So they are free to comment.
George, kindly open your mic.
And I think, anyway, I think magiging ready si Sir George next meeting. All right? Jennifer Jacob. Si Jen, parang kilala ko to eh. Naging guest natin. Hi, Jen.
Yeah. Always.
Jenny. Okay, nakamute si Jen.
You're on mute. Toastmaster. Jen, you're on mute. You're still on mute. Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
Hello, good evening. Okay na?
Okay na?
Yeah.
Sorry. Naririnig na ako?
Yes.
Ayan. Good evening. Overwhelming yung knowledge ngayon. Nakaka-enjoy. At maraming nakaka-excite. Yun lang muna. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Kung overwhelming ngayon, next meeting relaxing na kasi spa ang team natin. And syempre, it will be followed by another overwhelming meeting. So how about you? Last statements from General Evaluator Jed. And see you in Cebu.
Yes, so our discount will be happening in the next few days. So I really hope that a lot of members from Meycauayan Toastmasters Club will be able to join us. It will be this Friday already. I know. So Mark will be going, Auntie Christine will be attending also, and very much excited to see your club delegates who will be in Cebu with us for DISCON 2025. By the way, our keynote speaker, Aaron Beverly, already arrived, and he has he's joining a meeting this evening, but tomorrow evening he'll be joining my home club's meeting also, and we have a hybrid option. So if anyone would like to join us, please give me a message so I can send you the Zoom link and the password also. Thank you, and thanks for having me. I really enjoyed my time in the club meeting this evening. Back to you, our COO.
All right. Thank you once again, distinguished Toastmaster Jed. So let's wrap up. By the trust vested in me by the Meycauayan Toastmasters Club, I now adjourn the meeting. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, DTM Jed.